What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the JRE Review. I am reviewing Abby Martin's conversation with Joe Rogan, podcast 1316. Abby's cool. She's been on Rogan before. She's very liberal person, kind of fringy, extremely liberal, but, you know, you can talk to her, is what it seems like. You can hold a conversation, you can have a differing viewpoint, and she'll listen and then give her point of view, and she's fairly reasonable, you know, and that's the way to be. It doesn't matter what end of the spectrum you're on, politically, religiously, whatever. You got to be open to at least the discussion and keep it civil. So I do really like the way that she speaks, and in a way it makes you listen to her point of view more because she's willing to listen to another side. They talk a little bit about who's running on the Dem side, the Democratic side, for, you know, to run against Trump. That's going to be a hell of a battle. Trump knows what he's doing in the sense of how to, you know, rile up a crowd and how to take down an adversary. I mean, whether you like it or not, he's going to come up with a nickname for anyone he's up against, and it's going to make him look like a fool. So who's out there? You know, I'm not even sure. I don't follow this enough. I want to follow this stuff more. I should start getting into it now. I'm almost 40. I think by the time the president is younger than you really should start to know what the hell is going on politically, but I don't know. But who is there? Tulsi Gabbard. I like her. She seems cool. She was really cool on Rogan, and I've been following her on Instagram. I like the way she talks. Seems cool. I guess Joe Biden's out there. Don't know what I think about that guy too much, but hey, why not? Give him a shot, maybe. And then, of course, Bernie as well. So pick whoever you want, whatever you guys think. I just realized I didn't leave space for an intro. Well, no intro music today. Who cares? Doesn't matter. We just crack on. Sorry, folks. It's been a long day. But then, yeah, with Trump, I mean, he's a loose cannon, right? You never know what direction he's going to go in. And I don't mean that necessarily in a derogative way. If you're a Trump supporter, I just mean that, like, he's unpredictable. And that's an advantage and sometimes a disadvantage. But I think for Trump, it's been an advantage. I mean, he is the president. So he didn't completely fuck up with that one. He does say a lot of things as well. And Joe talks about it on this podcast. He talked a little bit about how the military-industrial complex wants to go to war. And he just kind of blurted that out. I guess there's like a sound clip on this. I haven't seen it. It's just from what they were saying. But that's kind of interesting. I mean, you know, he obviously supports military stuff. But at the same time, he's like, look, they just want to. So I wonder if it's really like that. I wonder if a lot of what Congress and the president does, it just sits there trying to find ways to not let the military go to war. That would be a fascinating thing if it was like that, you know. And there's always a lot of conspiracies for war. I think they come up with their own ideas, you know, things that they can do to kind of like push the people in the direction of war. You've got to win the people over, so something needs to happen. Now, I'm not saying everything's a conspiracy, you know, Pearl Harbor, 9/11, all the rest of it, but you do find out over time that the government was up to some shady stuff to try and get people into a war, and that's a little shaky. I don't know about that. They do, since Abby's a Bernie guy, they have to talk about the student debt thing. And Bernie wants to cancel all student debt. If you're a student, like I was, or you have been, and you owe a lot of money in student debt, and especially if you either didn't finish your degree or you're not using your degree at all, then it's really rough to pay your student loans down. People that almost graduated college but didn't, they basically can't do any more with their schooling than someone who I think just came out of high school, really. But they may owe like $100,000, and it's awful for those people. Now, I guess you could sit there and say, you know what? Well, why should we pay for this? Why should the government pay for this? They should have finished. It was their fault and this and that. But in a way, it doesn't really matter because they're all a part of this society. So if they're struggling really bad and they can't make ends meet and they're pulling their own life down, eventually it affects everyone. And I think student loans are just going to be one of those things in the future. You won't be able to take out as much. School won't be as much. Maybe it'll be free. I don't know. But it's not going to be the cost, the debilitating cost that it is today. I think our generation just got hit hard and we're paying the price. And if you took a lot of loans out, I mean, good luck. You got to pay that shit back. It's rough. So, yeah, when people talk about Bernie wanting to pay that off, you know, kind of put some sort of like tax on Wall Street, I guess, some sort of trading tax. It makes me, I don't know, I'm listening, you know, I'd like to know. I'm like, hey, I think there's a lot of people in that same boat that are going to get stuck, you know, in a really nasty way with this debt, and it's not going anywhere. And it's really going to be a burden on people. People aren't able to buy houses, you know, a lot of people aren't able to kind of get a home and get a mortgage, and because they've just got so much to pay off, and it really holds you back. And the sad thing about it, the irony is, people are taking out these loans to better themselves. They were kind of told to do that. You know, high school tells you to go to college. People are like, you want to go to college, that's how you make your life good. If you don't go, you're a loser. Well, then you go, and maybe you didn't want to go. Maybe that wasn't the route for you, and all of a sudden now you owe $100,000. It sucks. It's a lot of pressure. So I think politicians are coming out now, and they're gonna start to really address that and make some points. There needs to be something. There needs to be some sort of decent forgiveness program. You know, you just go to work and you're making money, and you know, if you're making really shit money and you have all this debt, there should be something for that too. It's like you shouldn't be enslaved to the debt. You're just trying to benefit yourself, which overall benefits the economy. I think we're starting to see that it's backfiring. These huge debts, they're not as beneficial as we thought. So yeah, Bernie wants to cancel those. How he will do that, who knows? I don't know. I don't know how that works. Talk a little bit about Trump putting all those sanctions on Venezuela. I wish I knew more about this. Venezuela, obviously, lots of cheap gas. Their economy is struggling a little bit. They've had some tough times over there. I guess it's still more stable than Colombia. Colombia's in a bit of a mess. I can't keep up with it all. I mean, maybe that's just like the lazy way of being. I don't know. I don't mean to be that way. I want to be more informed with these things. But I just pick up little pieces here and there. I need some better news sources to kind of stay on top of this stuff. It's almost like there's too much to know, too much going on. You know, the first thing you should have is a keen interest in absorbing as much knowledge as possible. I think as long as you have that, you're on the right track. But whether you can absorb it all, I don't know. But I do need to talk to somebody about kind of what's happening down there. And the reason being, my minor in college was history, and I focused on South American history. And if you guys are into history, if you enjoy reading some books about history, whatever, I'm telling you, check out South American history. It was so fascinating to learn about. I mean, so volatile, how the countries were kind of created, and the movement of people, and the slave trade, and the things that were happening. It was wild down there. It really was. There was so much going on, all the revolutions in Mexico, and it has a fascinating, rich history, and it really gives you a lot of respect for the countries down there, for sure. But, yeah, who knows if these sanctions are going to be good, or what they're really doing, or what they're up to. The last thing they got to was something a little bit kind of depressing, but they talked a bit about drone strikes, right? Drone strikes, we've had them a while. And Abby is saying that drone strikes and drones create terrorists, right? They overwhelmingly kill civilians. It's like into the 90s of that, which is really horrific. And, you know, it's like the remote control portion of it takes away the humanity aspect. And for the longest time, we had these drones, and it was like helping America, us, defeat our enemies. That's great. I was like, oh, these drones are on our side. That's awesome. But just imagine if they weren't. If they were on the other side doing this kind of damage, flying around your country, bombing schools. It would be fucking crazy to live with that. That would be awful. And it's just a side I'd never really thought about. I never really spent the time to be like that. But yeah, a little crazy. Bit of a depressing way to end. I'm sorry about that, guys. That's just that's that podcast. Abby had a lot of good things to say, and definitely worth listening to if you are into politics, even if you are a right winger. There's some good balance there, and she's pretty down to earth and got some good points. But guys, as always, thanks for downloading. Thanks for the support. Follow me on Instagram.